He's one from AMU, another from University of Leicester, UK. He had honorary visiting fellow, Department of English, University of Leicester, from 2012 to 16. He is also from AMU, another from University of Leicester, UK. He had honorary visiting fellow, Department of English, University of Leicester, from 2012 to 16. 27 books, articles, more than 100, delivered many lectures in different institutions. Sir is a very renowned personality. Today he is going to speak on literature and multiculturalism. So I invite Sir to start his lecture on literature and multiculturalism.
Thank you very much, Dr. Taseen, and thank you, Professor Rahman, for giving me this opportunity to interact with the course participants, my fellow teachers. Am I audible to you? You can hear me?
Participants, you can hear, sir?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. Okay, fine. Okay, so you are most welcome to this fascinating area, that's literature and multiculturalism. What I'm going to discuss with you, you may find it something new, something interesting, something cultural. What I'm going to discuss with you, you may. When we say multiculturalism, it goes without saying that the interaction among across the labels of language, culture, ethnicity, nationality, these are all labels, so on the basis of this. What I am going to discuss with you and to draw your attention to the fact is that the history of English literature, it reflects multiculturalism to a great extent. And I will illustrate it with reference to, now please listen carefully, I use the term for this as literary Orientalism. The key word is Orientalism. Orient is a geographical term which means the East, and the opposite is Occident, 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 which is the West. So when somebody from the West, whether it is Europe, whether it is America, when he or she writes something about the East, when we say East, means the Orient, Asia, Arabs, India, all the countries and cultures located in the Eastern Hemisphere. So this is a very interesting area of multiculturalism, how Western writers, they have described, depicted, and portrayed the Eastern or Oriental culture. So this particular field of study, I call it literary Orientalism. So you get the point. What does Orientalism mean? Orientalism means a study of the people, culture and literature of the Orient, of the East by Westerners. When we say literary Orientalism, I mean how it is reflected in English literature. I am just reading out some of the names in the alphabetical order, surnames. Then you will get a clear picture how all these major writers, they have written something about India, about Asia, about Islam, about Arabs, about Muslims, and this is what is meant by literary Orientalism. So look here, Joseph I'm just reading out the name of the English men of letters who have contributed to this multiculturalism or literary Orientalism in the alphabetical order: Addison, Matthew Arnold, William Beckford, William Blake, Robert Browning, Lord Byron, Thomas Carlyle, Chaucer, Coleridge, Congreve, Joseph Conrad, John Dryden, T.S. Eliot, E.M. Foster, Oliver Goldsmith, Samuel Johnson, Leigh Hunt, Sir William Jones, James Joyce, John Keats, Lander, Doris Lessing, Christopher Marlowe, Philip Messenger, John Milton, Lady Montego, Thomas More, George Peele, Edgar Allan Poe, Alexander Pope, Sir William Scott, and of course William Shakespeare, Shelley, Robert Southey. Southey is pronounced also as Southey, Edmund Spenser, Tennyson, Thackeray, Oscar Wilde, William Wordsworth, and finally alphabetically W.B. Yeats. I just mentioned about 30, 40 names of English men of letters. They are all major writers. They are not minor figures. As you can see, whether Shakespeare, whether Milton, Pope, Dryden, they are major literary figures. All of them, they have written something about the Orient, about India, about Islam, about Muslims, which should be of great interest to you as students of English literature in India. So you can see this field known as literary Orientalism. It includes all major literary figures from Chaucer, that's 14th century, down to Doris Lessing, the 21st century Nobel laureate lady who died in 2012. So you see here, this multiculturalism is throughout the ages. It is not that in one particular period people were talking about India and about the Orient. From 14th century down to 21st century, throughout it is there. This is one thing. Another thing, all major writers have contributed to this discourse. Another point is, of course, the quantity or quantum of the writing, it varies. Some have written a lot, some little, some in passing, but each of them has said something about us, that is the Orientals, about Indians, and about Islam and Muslims. So I hope you get the point that there is varying quantum. The quantity varies from writer to writer. And naturally their approaches are also diverse, different approaches. I will just give you some more illustrations later, but you have this idea that they have diverse approaches. All of you are students of literature, so you know very well text, subtext, pretext. Most of these writers, they have used multiculturalism as a pretext, as a subtext Now, please listen carefully. I am giving you a concrete, a very telling example. And it has something to do with politicization as well. How literature takes on a political color and how it affects. Please pay special attention to this point. This early 19th century writer Robert Sade I just mentioned. Sade are pronounced as Sade also. Today he is very little known. Maybe very few of you know also. But in his lifetime, early 19th century, he was very important, very famous. He was a contemporary of Wordsworth and Coleridge, and he was more popular, more famous than Wordsworth and Coleridge in early 19th century. There were many reasons for that. One was he was a historian also. The other was he was a poet, so he was very influential. Look, I just told you he is an early 19th century writer. Early 19th century. East India Company is already there in India since the late 18th century. About 100 years have passed. Magazines, periodicals in England, they are publishing reports about India and Indians. What kind of reports? Highly negative, ugly, repulsive. India as a dark place. India as a place full of ignorance, superstitions, darkness. Darkness metaphor, constant metaphor. Main religion in India is Hinduism. So Hinduism is full of, according to them, full of inhuman practices. Particularly sati, widow burning, child marriages, caste system. Now look here. Robert Sade is a poet. In 1810, he writes a very long poem, and the title of the poem is The Curse of Gehama. Gehama, in Hindi word, the name of a Raja, the prince, a princely ruler. It is a very long poem running into some 3,000, 4,000 lines.
Sorry, sir, can't hear properly.
Hello?
Sir, can't hear you properly.
I see. Is it better now? Yes,
थोड़ा सा आवाज बढ़ा लीजिए सर.
ओके. थोड़ी आवाज बढ़ा दीजिए.
हमारे से तो फुल वॉल्यूम.
We have, I have full volume here.
Okay, sir. We'll check. Okay. You start, sir. Proceed,
Yes.
please.
Sound is clear.
Okay, it is clear. Good. So what I was telling you, something very interesting. This poet Robert Sade, he is reading reports from India sent by the missionaries, the Christian missionaries, about the inhuman practices in India, holding Hinduism responsible for it. So he wrote the poem. I gave you the title of the poem, The Curse of Gehama, running into thousands of lines. depicts India in very negative colors. A place full of injustice, exploitation, oppression, especially against women, against children, against the lower classes of society. Now look here. This poem is published in 1810. In 1813, just within 3 years, the British Parliament passes Act of India in 1813, Indian Act, which authorizes, which sanctifies missionary or conversion work in India. Now you can see the connection between politics and literature. You can see how one culture is misperceived, misrepresented by another culture, and how it takes on some political overtones. Because these missionaries, they had presented the picture that India is totally lost, enveloped by darkness. We need the light of Christianity. We need enlightenment from the West. So the Westerners, including Kipling, they thought that it is the white man's burden. It is the divine mission of the white men, especially missionaries, to promote Christianity in order to help the local people overcome their superstition, their ignorance. So look here, this is one example of multiculturalism, how it is, one culture is misrepresented through culture, and how it is misperceived and misunderstood. But don't take it, I'm not just presenting you one side of the picture. We have another equally interesting figure of Sir William Jones. He is also 18th century literary figure, 1746 to 1794. He is also 18th century literary figure, 1746 to 1794. He enjoyed mastery over at least 1 dozen languages because he has translation from Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian into English. He knew Sanskrit very well. Sir William Jones has translated from Sanskrit Shakuntala into English. And not just Shakuntala, Kalidas drama. Also, the poem in praise of, just listen carefully, poems in praise of Kamdev, Ganga, Indra, Lakshmi, Narayan, Saraswati, Surya, Prakriti, Bhavani, Durga, all this is Hindu and culture. In praise of these religious legendary figures, he wrote poems and introduced them. This is another aspect of multiculturalism. Introducing a different culture to own country. One example is of Robert Sade, who is projecting a very distorted, repulsive, ugly picture of India and Indians, and that's why the British Parliament passes an act. So today what media does, news channels do, that they mobilize public opinion, the same role performed by a poet, by literature. And that resulted in very vigorous missionary activities in Agra, Pune, Sirampur, so many different places. But at the same time, we have the example of Sir William Jones also, who is full of appreciation for the classical Hindu tradition. He is familiarizing, sensitizing the Englishmen, the Europeans, to Hindu gods and goddesses. This is another phase of multiculturalism. I will give you another example, that is of Lord Byron, the Romantic poet, early 19th century. As part of the continental tour, he visited Turkey. He stayed in Turkey for 6 months. And look here, on the basis of his first-hand observations, his interaction with Turks, he wrote 4 poems which are known as Turkish tales, Turkish poems. All the characters in these Turkish tales, they are Muslims. The titles of these poems are The Geo, The Bride of Abydos, O Fair, and The Siege of Corinth. 4 long poems. In these poems, Byron is presenting a very positive, sympathetic picture of Islam. And what is he saying? He's saying that since 14th century, from the days of Crusades, 10th century, 11th century, we think of Muslims only as barbaric, sexually degenerate and ignorant people. But here I am in Istanbul, in Turkey, for 6 months, and I can see so many good things about Islam and Muslims and their culture. One very concrete example I will give you. Byron, as an Englishman or as a Westerner, he was amazed, not surprised. He was bewildered to see that Muslim women, they were not there in public. Most of them lived indoors. But they were business women. They had economic rights. They were traders. This was unthinkable for an Englishman like Byron, For you also it may come as a surprise to know that until 1910, in the whole of Europe and America, women did not have any economic rights. She could not own property. She was not a legal person. She could not vote. Only all these rights they became possible because of the suffrage movement and feminist movement in early 20th century. So in 1810, when Byron saw that in Turkey, in a so-called backward country, Muslim women are there, they are business women, they have money, they have economic rights, they have their own property, that came as a cultural shock to them. Why was it so? That's a different story. I can take you back to the Bible, because the Bible says that because Eve had misled Adam into eating the forbidden tree, so according to the Bible scholars, as punishment, Eve, our woman, was denied home. She will never have any of her home. It will be her father's home, her husband's home, or her son's home. Why? What is the sin of the woman? Because of the first woman, that is Eve, Adam lost the original home, that is the heavens, the Garden of Eden, because she disobeyed and they were expelled from there. So in punishment, women will have never any home. She will not have any financial or economic rights. So you see here how multiculturalism operates at the level of literature. In his poems, Byron has presented, I will just tell you, a very positive view of Islam, and he removed so many misconceptions about the Turkish men and women, about Islam and Islam. Last example I will give you of this lady, Doris Less. She died in 2012. Her father worked in Iran, so she had Iranian or Persian connection. She knew very good Persian. He won the Nobel Prize for her novel, and the novel of that title is Shikasta. Shikasta is a Persian word which means broken. So look, after 9/11, after all this events of terrorism and then Iran as a religious Islamic republic, here is an English lady named Doris Lessing who has won Nobel Prize. She's writing novels praising the Iranian society, appreciating the Persian culture, speaking highly of the people in Iran. Then, another example, very interesting example of multiculturalism, Ian Foster. He visited India thrice, 1912, 1921, and then 1945. He worked in India also for 6 months as secretary to the Maharaja of Day-1. In 1920s, he wrote his famous novel, A Passage to Eden. Look, who is the writer? An English novel about? All about India. And which India? The British India of 1920, when the British, they have been occupying and ruling over India. And throughout the novel, he condemns, he criticizes about India. And which India? The British India, the British officials for their inhuman attitude towards India, for their suppression of Indian freedom, supporting the Indian freedom movement. He is supporting the Hindu-Muslim unity in India, which is poisoned by the British. Look, very interesting example of multiculturalism. An Englishman writing about India, and what is he doing? He is condemning the British rulers for their injustice, for their persecution of India, for their arrogance, for their inhuman attitude towards India, for treating Indians as subhuman. Rudyard Kipling, he is a typical Orientalist. For him, India and for their black, dark, uncivilized, uncouth. So look, two writers of the same period having different approach towards the same culture. So multiculturalism is about variety. The point which I was emphasizing was that writers, they have, in their own ways, they have written a lot about the Oriental culture. I told you about Addison, many stories he has written about Arabs and Muslims. William Beckford, he has written a whole novel. The title of the novel is Wasef. Wasef is a purely Arabic title. William Blake, he is influenced. Yes, William Blake, he is influenced by Indian Vedantic and Islamic mysticism. In some of his poems, you find the influence of Vedantic philosophy. Same is true about W.B. Yeats, the Irish-English 20th century poet, and about T.S. Eliot. You know very well the ending of Eliot's masterpiece, The Wasteland, and says Shanti, Shanti. So, some of the writers, whether it is William Blake, W.B. Yeats, T.S. Eliot, they are influenced by Vedantic or Hindu philosophy and mysticism. I told you about Thomas Carter, 19th century Victorian writer. In 1840, for the first time, in a public lecture in Birmingham, the Islamic prophet Muhammad, he was praying. He was admired by Thomas Carter. Before that, the history of the image of the Prophet in English art in the West was negative. The Prophet was misrepresented, misperceived on many counts. Here is a writer, Thomas Carlyle, an intellectual, delivering a public lecture and on his book on heroes and hero worship. He projects Prophet Muhammad as a hero. Look at the brilliant example of multicultural. And since then, there has been some change in Western scholarship. Some Western writers, they have also written books about the quality of the Prophet's character. College is also fascinated by Indian and Islamic culture. Tugla Khan is what they part of it is taken from Islamic or Quranic concept of paradise. With the fountains, with the sunny spot, all these images, they are taken from the Islamic. Would you believe John Dryden, you know Dryden, as a poet, as a critic, as a dramatist, but he was a dramatist also. In 18th century, sitting there in England, he is like a play about the Mughal king Aurangzeb. It is multicultural. A poet, an English writer, sitting in England, writing a play about an Indian Mughal emperor, that is Aurangzeb. Then James Joyce, in our time, 20th century, he is also influenced by Muslim culture, Islamic tradition, talking about Muslim culture. Kipling, I have just mentioned him, Rudyard Kipling. He represents the colonial mindset, the imperialist approach, according to which Indians are inferior, ugly, subhuman. So many negative things he has said about India and India. Then there is a romantic poet, Thomas More. Now he is little known, but in his lifetime, highly popular. He wrote a poem which sold like hotcake, and the title of the poem is Lala Rock, Persian name, means someone having a face like the flower, and the name of the flower is. And do you know the setting, the locale of this poem is Kashmir. A journey from Kashmir to Bukhara in the Central Asia. Look at this multiculturalism. 19th century English, Irish poet Thomas More writing a poem, beautiful poem, full of exoticism, picturesque, and he's writing about Kashmir and Central Asia. Then I told you about Shelley, his poem Champa. Champa is an Indian flower. The title of his poem is The Indian Serenade. Then Tennyson again with some of the colonial bent of mind, Lucknow, and you know very well, Tennyson, 19th century Victorian writer. So when he's writing about Lucknow, it is about the conquest or the British control over Lucknow after 1857. So the imperialist or the colonial approach is here in Tennyson. And I mentioned you also about W.B. Yeats, the 20th century Irish poet, deeply influenced by both Islamic, Vedantic, and Hindu philosophy. Some of his poems reflect that influence. So you see here, there is a whole range of writers who are depicting, representing the other cultures, whether it is Indian, whether it is Muslim, Arab, and that is a very fascinating area of study. I would urge you to carry out these studies, because here you can contribute something original. What Sadeh has written about India and Indians, how far it is true, how much ignorance is there, what misrepresentation is there. William Jones, he has written so many poems about Indian kings. That would be a very interesting area for your own study and research. So this particular field, literary Orientalism, is very well established. It was inaugurated by the Christian Arab intellectual Edward Said, professor of English at Princeton University. In 1978, he published his book, Orientalism, and that established this literary tradition of examining how English men of letters have represented India, Islam, and Muslims. And now, at the moment, there are literally thousands of books on this topic, that is literary Orientalism. More than 1,000 PhDs have been done, so many articles and conferences. So, for exotic, it has its exotic value also, how others perceive you, how others describe you. That could be a very interesting subject of study. When I told you, some of them, they have empathy. Empathy is a degree higher than sympathy. So like Sir William Jones and E.M. Foster, how kind, sympathetic, favorable, positive they are to India, Indians, Islam and Muslims. So there is a variety in their approaches. It is a cross-cultural history. So I think you will enjoy approaching and studying such literary texts which are about India and Indians. Any one of you who is interested in this topic, please contact me on my email. I will let you have more topics. And as a literary Orientalism is very interesting from the point of view of comparison, comparativeness, how two cultures are compared and contrasted, especially the views about women, gender issues. That's very interesting. And then social life, cultural life, that's also a good part of it. Right. So it's about 50 minutes presentation, and I can go on and on, but I know in this online presentation the span of focus is not very long. So I would now request you to feel free to ask questions and any clarification. Dr. Tessie, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We ask them to, if they want, they can discuss further points.
Okay, sir. Okay. Participants, if you want to ask any question, unmute your mics and ask the question. Participants. Participants, if you want to ask any question, unmute your mic and ask the question. Participants.
Yeah, any clarification, any
clarification, anything if you want, you can ask.
Are your own observations, if you would like to add or you would like to expand it further, please feel free to do so.
Namaste, sir. Good afternoon. I'm Nagalakshmi, sir. I'm University of Hyderabad.
Okay.
And I really thank you for giving us this very nice comprehensive overview. And it's been a long time, and I really thank you for opening up this avenue for us to see the English literature and on multiculturalism.
Thank you.
So, sir, yes, sir. Thank you so much. So, there is just one part that I missed in your lecture because of bad audio from my own side, not on your side. I had a network problem. You were talking about a Persian and a journey from Kashmir to Central Asia.
Yes.
Can you just do a small recap for me, sir? Because I missed because of audio problem.
Sure. The poet is Thomas More. M-O-O-R-E, Thomas More.
Yes.
Irish British poet of romantic period.
Yes.
In 1820, he published the poem Lala Roh, L-A-L-L-A, Lala Roh,
Yes, sir.
R-O-O-K-H, Lala Roh. It is a collection of 4 stories. So one of the stories or one of the poems is about his journey from, and the heroine, this is the name of the heroine, Lala Roh, from Kashmir to Bukhara, Central Asia. But for locational point of view, scenic beauty, picturesque quality is worth reading. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And because we do hear a lot about them writing on India, but talking about a journey from Kashmir, that was pretty unusual, I thought. Because it doesn't come into the forefront. I mean, a lot of people, never did we get a chance to see them in any of our textbooks. Maybe we had to do our own research and see this. So I will definitely try to get this book and read. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. I must appreciate your sense of, this is genuine scholarship, and you have the curiosity, and it is a very as I said, fascinating experience. How others see you, isn't it?
Yes.
How they describe you. It is like a mirror image. Okay, go ahead. Anyone else, please?
I am Maulana from Arabic. I'm teaching at India University Arabic languages. I to ask you that Urdu language has from a multicultural Persian culture, Arab culture, and Indian culture. And we are seeing multicultural effect on Urdu language. So can please elaborate us?
Yeah, it goes without saying Urdu has all the features of this multiculturalism. If you ask me which is the best story in Urdu, without thinking I will say Munshi Premchand's Kafan, isn't it? So Premchand, in the early 20th century, his story Kafan is the best writing, and there have been literally hundreds of non-Muslim Urdu writers. Even today, the biggest name in Urdu literary circle is Professor Gopi Chandaran. He was at Jamia as the chairman of Sahi Academy. So this is Urdu does represent multiculturalism, and that's why it has vocabulary. A very interesting thing. All the verbs, all the adverbs in Urdu, they are from Hindi. Adjectives are from Arabic and Persian, but the syntax and vocabulary is mostly from Brij Bhasha or Hindi. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Hello.
Is Urdu dying? What is your views on this statement, sir?
On what?
Is Urdu language dying?
Dying. Regrettably, yes, it is. There have been many factors for that, but certainly it is on the decline, and now it has now some new platforms, Reply.com and all these. So there is a revival also in that sense. But generally speaking, yes, the Urdu leadership, the Urdu students, they have been on the decline.
How to save this, sir?
Pardon?
How can we save our language?
How can we save it? It is up to us. There is no point in dragging state, whoever is in power. Language is totally people's choice, isn't it? You cannot enforce or impose any language on anyone. If I don't have the urge, I won't do so. It is up to Urdu-speaking people to promote, to preserve, to maintain, to strengthen it. But unfortunately, it is not the case. I am from Aligarh, and I have been at Aligarh for the last 50 years, and I have seen so much decrease or decline, and we are responsible for it. It is not that somebody is doing it. We ourselves have not been keeping up with it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Any questions?
सर मैडम मैं एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन करना चाहता हूँ. आई एम डॉक्टर जाफर जरीफ फ्रॉम शातवाहना यूनिवर्सिटी करीमनगर. सर एक छोटा सा क्लैरिफिकेशन है. जैसा कि अपना टॉपिक है आज लिटरेचर एंड मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म. ये जो उर्दू में जो नॉवेल्स लिखे गए हैं सर, जैसे उमराव जान अदा है और निष्ठा, इसमें जो तहजीब पेश की गई है, क्या ये वाकई हकीकत पर मबनी है या फिर कोई ख्याली?
नहीं, उमराव जान अदा जो है मिर्जा मोहम्मद हादी रुस्वा की, वो बिल्कुल 100% हकीकी तहजीब है। ये उस जमाने की तहजीब थी, और वो जो तवाइफों की जो पूरी जिंदगी है और जिस तरह से वो, और वो तवाइफ जो है वो इट इज नॉट टू बी टेकन इन द सेंस ऑफ ब्रॉथल, वो कर्टिजन्स थे। जिस तरह ये जापान में होती है गेशिया गर्ल्स, so that was that culture. It had less to do with flesh. It had more to do with this singing, dancing, and again dancing not in an obscene sense, in the classical sense, but this whatever in Umrao Jan is there, it is, I can assure you, it is 100% based on religion. That was the culture in Lucknow at that time. And what to say, Lucknow, in your Hyderabad also we had the same. That.
Sir, hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, my name is Robin Ghosh. Guru Buthan Government College, North Bengal University, Darjeeling, West Bengal. Is Sanskrit language dead language?
Not at all. How can you call it a dead language? It is taught in as many as the countries of speech. In 1875, he established this Aligarh Muslim University. Sanskrit was the first department to be established by him, and it is at Aligarh Muslim University we have the department of Sanskrit. So it is not a dead language. At most you can say it is not so much as a spoken language or something like this, but that's a different thing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Do I have the time to ask another question?
Yes, please make it the last one. Yes.
Yeah, I'm Sudeshna Chakravarti. I teach English at a college affiliated to the University of Calcutta. So you were talking about Shelley and Thomas More and how they have tried to integrate information about other cultures, whether it is the journey in India, it was Shelley stay in Turkey, and we also have T.S. Eliot, who included the Upanishads and Tripitaka in his Wasteland. We have all that. What I wanted to know was that when we are writing about some other culture and we use terms or words from another language, we often have a confusion whether to explain that those foreign words that we are using, whether to give a glossary, or whether to let the readers work hard at it and find out the meanings themselves, in that way learning more about the culture themselves. Your opinion on which should be the way for writers or poets?
It is a very intelligent question.
Thank you, sir.
The local or indigenous element should be maintained. It should be there in the local language. But an editorial note should be there by way of explanation. That's how this exotic or this original color is retained, and at the same time for making readers aware what does it mean, there is glossary or this annotation. And that's what I can tell you, Byron has used literally some 500 words of Arabic and Persian origin, but in his Turkish tales. But he has written notes on each of these so that readers know what does it mean. For example, somebody says Bismillah, somebody is saying Azan, so no one can understand what is Azan, what is Bismillah. One in a million person will understand that. But because he's talking about Turkey, and in Turkey it is very common, Azan is common, or Bismillah is common, so he has used that local element, but at the same time explained that. So this is the way out. Please use the local word, original language, but annotate it and explain it in the form of a footnote. Okay?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir, for your very informative, very wonderful lecture you have given. You have given many examples of. You want to ask one question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful and informative session. Sir, one of the linguistics from America said that English language is a killer language. So now English has been given much and more importance in India also. How far is it correct to say that the English language is killer of other language?
Well, you see, everything is governed by economy, isn't it? Money matters. So, because somehow the West controls the economy, so their language, their culture, their food habits, their dress, they are there to be seen everywhere. So everything, I'm not a Marxist, but this is the truth, that it is money or economy that determines or molds all this. It has just to do with this linguistic issue. It is more to do with globalization and market forces. And it should be said to their credit, to the credit of especially English people, that they have showcased an English language as a commodity and made such a big market for it that it is now inevitable, impossible for anyone to survive without English. Compared to other countries in the world, is because of our exposure to English. We knew English from 17th century, so we are in a much better position in IT because of our knowledge of English. बहुत शुक्रिया रहमान साहब.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Wonderful.
So thank you so much, sir.
मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म हमने अगर हमारे क्लासरूम में और सिलेबस में थोड़ा सा इंक्लूड कर दिए तो बच्चों को पढ़ने के लिए थोड़ा सा इजी हो जाएगा सर.
जरूर मल्टीकल्चरलिज्म से ज्यादा पीसफुल को एग्जिस्टेंस का मैसेज दें. दैट्स मच मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. यस.
एंड अपने देश की संस्कृति है उसमें एक हार्मोनी आ जाएगी बच्चों में पढ़ते वक्त. जब वो एक जवाबदार सिटीजन आगे चल बनेगा तो उसका कोई बेस ये नहीं होगा सर. मैं मराठी मीडियम से हूँ तो उसका वो पूर्वग्रह जो बोलते ही विल बी नॉट इनिशियली बायस्ड.
ट्रू. बहुत ही डिसर्निंग एंड परसेप्टिव ऑब्जर्वेशन आपका है. And let us hope and try for this, for introducing, strengthening, promoting peaceful coexistence and multiculturalism. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
ठीक है. रहमान साहब फिर इंशाल्लाह कांटेक्ट रहेगा. ओके. Thank you very much, Dr. Taseen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your very informative and very impressive lecture you have given. With examples, sir, of literary figures, you have given examples of literary figures who wrote about multiculturalism in their own way. You have clearly explained about Orientalism also. Really, sir, it was a very comprehensive type of a lecture you have given on literature and multiculturalism. So on behalf of UGC-HRDC, I once again thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time with us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Participants?